Every day, millions of Muslims across the globe recite verses from the Quran in which Allah refers to himself as we. But have you ever paused to think about why the creator of everything, the one and only God, a plural form when speaking about himself? Why doesn't Allah always say I instead? This question has intrigued many people, including new Muslims and even lifelong believers who have never been given a clear explanation. Today, we will explore this powerful and meaningful topic, one that lies at the core of understanding the divine nature of the Quran and the unmatched majesty of Allah Almighty. By the way, which country are you watching from? And if you love Islam and want to deepen your understanding of its beautiful teachings, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. The use of we in the Quran is neither a mistake nor an indication of multiple gods. Rather, it reveals something extraordinary about Allah and the way he communicates with humanity. This linguistic choice is filled with wisdom and carries multiple layers of meaning, reflecting the perfect eloquence of the Quran and the infinite greatness of its author. When we understand why Allah uses we gain deeper insight into his power, his mercy, and the immense reverence he commands from all of creation. In the Arabic language, different forms of speech convey different meanings and levels of emphasis. When Allah says we in the Quran, it is known as the majestic plural or royal we. This form is used to express honor, grandeur, dignity, and supreme authority. Just as a king might say, we have decided, instead of I have decided, to emphasize the importance of his command. Allah uses this form to convey ultimate majesty. However, Allah's use of we goes far beyond human royal speech. Allah is not just a king, he is the king of all kings. His authority is absolute, his power limitless, and his majesty incomparable. In Surah Al-Fatih, the opening chapter of the Quran, we say, you alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. Here, Allah is addressed in the singular form. Yet in many other verses, Allah refers to himself as we. For example, in Surah Al-Hayya, Allah says, indeed, it is we who sent down the Quran, and indeed, we will be its guardian. This variation between I, we, and he is deliberate and meaningful. It is not random or accidental. Each form is used with precision to highlight specific attributes of Allah and to reinforce the message being delivered. When Allah uses we, it often appears in contexts describing his power, his creative acts, and his grand decrees. This wording magnifies the significance of the action and instills awe in the hearts of those who read or hear it. It emphasizes that these acts are so vast and profound that they deserve to be expressed in the most majestic manner possible. One crucial point to understand is that the use of we never suggests partnership or multiplicity in Allah's essence. The foundation of Islam is Tawheed, the absolute oneness of Allah. The Quran repeatedly and unmistakably affirms this truth. In Surah Ali, Allah declares, say he is Allah the One, Allah the eternal refuge. He neither begets nor is born, and there is nothing comparable to him. This short but powerful chapter, considered equal to 1/3 of the Quran in meaning, removes any doubt about Allah's absolute uniqueness and oneness. The beauty and precision of the Arabic language allow for the majestic plural without creating confusion about Allah's unity, especially among native speakers. Even in English, when a judge says, we find the defendant guilty, no one assumes there are multiple judges speaking. Instead, it reflects the authority and dignity of the court. Likewise, when Allah says, we created or we decreed, it emphasizes authority and grandeur, not multiplicity. Additionally, the use of we can reflect the complete divine system through which Allah carries out his will. While Allah alone is the creator and commander, he appoints angels, controls natural laws, and governs every process in the universe. When Allah says, we send down rain, it includes his command, the angels tasked with carrying it out, and the natural systems he designed, all operating under his absolute control. In every case, the message remains clear. Allah is one, unmatched in power and perfection, and his words are expressed with a majesty that befits his divine greatness. Allah's use of we reflects his complete governance over all creation while preserving his absolute sovereignty as the one who commands everything. Throughout the Quran, this majestic form often appears when Allah describes acts of creation, revelation, guidance, or judgment, moments of supreme divine activity that deserve to be conveyed in the most exalted manner. When Allah speaks about creating the heavens and the earth, sending down the Quran, or determining the rise and fall of nations, the use of we adds gravity and splendor to these extraordinary acts. It reminds us that we are engaging with the Lord of the universe, whose every decree carries immeasurable weight, and whose actions shape the very fabric of existence. The Quran also employs we when Allah emphasizes his mercy and care for his creation. In verses about forgiveness, sustenance, and guidance, the majestic plural conveys not only power but also the vastness and completeness of his mercy. It reflects a divine compassion so all-encompassing that it is expressed in the most honored form of speech. This reassures believers that they remain under the care of the most merciful. Mercy surrounds all things. The alternation between I, we, and he serves profound rhetorical and spiritual purposes. When Allah uses I, it often creates a sense of closeness and personal connection. particularly in matters of worship, supplication, and individual guidance. The use of we highlights majesty, authority, and the significance of divine actions, while he is commonly used when Allah's attributes are being described or when the discourse speaks about Allah rather than directly from him. This variation enriches the Quran's style. It keeps the reader engaged and reveals different dimensions of Allah's relationship with his creation. The impact of this divine linguistic choice becomes clear in how it affects the hearts of believers. When one reads, "Indeed, it is we who sent down the Quran," the authority and weight of the statement are immediately felt. The use of we compels reflection on the magnitude of revelation, reminding us that the Quran is not merely a book but a direct message from the Supreme Authority of the universe, worthy of the highest respect, deep contemplation, and complete obedience. Islamic scholars throughout history have explored this subject in depth. Ibn Kathir explained that Allah's use of we is a means of honoring himself and demonstrating his supreme majesty and sovereignty. Al-Khattabi noted that this linguistic precision is itself a sign of the Quran's divine origin, showcasing a mastery of Arabic eloquence that no human author could consistently achieve with such depth and wisdom. This majestic language also serves as a reminder of Allah's transcendence above his creation. By choosing words that convey dignity and grandeur, Allah teaches believers that he is unlike anything in creation, the Most High and the exalted, worthy of the utmost reverence. This, in turn, nurtures proper adab or etiquette in how believers think about, speak to, and speak about Allah. Another powerful aspect of Allah's use of we appears in verses related to revelation and guidance. When Allah speaks of sending scriptures, selecting prophets, or guiding humanity, the majestic plural emphasizes the honor and significance of these divine gifts. It reminds us that revelation is not casual or ordinary. It is a momentous act of divine mercy, were carried out with the highest level of divine care and attention. This understanding deepens a believer's appreciation for the blessing of guidance through the Quran and the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. Finally, the Quran's varied use of pronouns highlights the limitless nature of Allah's attributes. Allah is at once the most merciful and the most just, the closest and the most high, the gentle and the all. These shifts in language reflect that divine complexity and prevent any attempt to reduce Allah to a simple or limited concept. They remind us that while Allah allows us to know him, his true reality remains far beyond the full grasp of the human mind, while still remaining close and accessible to our worship and supplication. When Allah uses we in context of creation, it emphasizes that every act of creation is a deliberate, majestic decree of the Supreme Creator. When we read, "And it is we who created the heavens and the earth," in truth, we are reminded that the universe is not the product of randomness or blind natural forces, but the magnificent work of the all-powerful, worthy of all praise and devotion. The majestic plural invites reflection on the precision, beauty, and intricate order woven into every part of creation. This form is also frequently used in verses that speak about Allah's knowledge and wisdom. When Allah says, "And we know what they conceal and what they reveal," the plural emphasizes the perfection and completeness of his knowledge. Unlike human understanding, which is limited and fragmented, Allah's knowledge is absolute, eternal, and all-encompassing, covering everything from the movement of distant galaxies to the silent thoughts hidden within our hearts. In verses concerning judgment and accountability, the use of we carries an especially powerful weight. When Allah declares, "And it is we who will judge between them on the day of resurrection," the majestic plural underscores the authority and flawless justice that will be manifested on that day. It serves as both a warning and a reassurance believers to prepare for their meeting with their Lord and to live righteously in this world. The gravity of divine judgment is intensified through this linguistic choice, making the warning more compelling and the promise of justice more comforting. The beauty of the Quran's language is also evident in how it sounds when recited. Arabic is a language in which sound and meaning are deeply interconnected, and the rhythm and flow of Quranic verses are themselves part of its miraculous nature. The alternation between different pronouns for Allah creates a powerful musical quality in recitation. The use of we evokes grandeur and awe, it conveys closeness and intimacy, and he instills reverent objectivity. It's contributing to a distinct spiritual effect. Modern linguistic studies have revealed that the Quran's use of pronouns is far more precise and sophisticated than previously realized. Each pronoun aligns perfectly with the verse's context, theme, and emotional purpose. Scholars regard this remarkable consistency as one of the many signs of the Quran's divine origin, as no human author could maintain such linguistic excellence across an entire text addressing countless subjects and situations. The use of we also plays a key role in affirming the authenticity of the Quranic message. When Allah says, "Indeed we have sent it down as an Arabic Quran," the majestic plural reinforces that this revelation is not the speech of any human being, but a direct communication from the Supreme Authority. This distinction elevates the Quran above all other speech and establishes its unique status as the literal word of Allah. for new Muslims and those studying Islam. Understanding this linguistic feature resolves apparent misunderstandings and deepens appreciation for the Quran's eloquence. It reveals that every word in the Quran is chosen with perfect wisdom and serves multiple layers of meaning at once. This awareness also aids in accurate translation and interpretation, helping preserve the dignity and majesty intended by Allah across different languages. The educational impact of Allah's use of we extends to teaching believers proper reverence. When children and new Muslims learn that Allah speaks of himself in this majestic manner, it nurtures a sense of awe and respect for their Creator. This linguistic foundation shapes their relationship with Allah, encouraging humility, sincerity, and devotion in worship and obedience. Finally, the consistency of the Quran's linguistic structure stands as a challenge to those who claim it was authored by Prophet Muhammad or any other human being. The flawless harmony between pronoun choice and thematic meaning maintained throughout a revelation, spanning 23 years in countless circumstances, a level of literary mastery that could only originate from Allah himself. No human author could sustain such precision, depth, and coherence over time, could maintain such consistency while enduring the immense pressures and challenges faced by Prophet Muhammad throughout his prophetic mission. Reflecting on why Allah uses we in the Quran invites believers to think deeply about the very nature of divine communication. Allah could have chosen any manner of expression, yet he selected forms of speech that elevate human understanding and cultivate proper reverence. This choice reflects Allah's wisdom in guiding humanity not only through the message itself, but through the way that message is delivered. Every element of the Quran, including its linguistic structure, serves the purpose of drawing hearts closer to Allah and helping human beings recognize their true relationship with their Creator. The use of we also highlights Allah's active and continuous involvement in the world, rather than portraying Allah as distant or detached. The majestic plural emphasizes his constant engagement in sustaining, managing, and guiding creation. When Allah says, "And it is we who give life and cause death," believers are reminded that their existence depends entirely on Allah's ongoing care and divine will. This realization nurtures gratitude, reliance upon Allah, and trust in His perfect providence. For those who study the Quran from an academic perspective, the use of we offers insight into the depth of divine rhetoric. The Quran employs an array of literary and linguistic techniques that enhance its impact on both the mind and the heart. The deliberate alternation of pronouns is one example of how the Quran communicates on multiple levels at once through meaning, structure, sound, and emotional resonance. This layered complexity is among the reasons scholars regard the Quran as for no human composition achieves such comprehensive and sustained excellence. Understanding Allah's use of we also has practical implications for daily worship. When Muslims recite verses containing the majestic plural, they are reminded to approach Allah with humility, focus, and reverence. This linguistic cue reinforces awareness that one is standing before the majestic King of the universe, worthy of the highest honor and respect, thereby deepening sincerity and presence during prayer and supplication. As we conclude this exploration of why Allah uses we in the Quran, it becomes clear that this divine linguistic choice serves many profound purposes. It emphasizes Allah's majesty and authority, preserves proper reverence for the Creator, showcases the unmatched eloquence of the Quran, and continuously educates believers at a spiritual level. Far from causing confusion, the use of we is a beautiful example of how Allah communicates in ways that elevate human understanding and inspire awe-filled worship. Each time we encounter we in the Quran, we are invited to pause and reflect on the extraordinary reality it represents. We are listening to the direct speech of the Creator of the universe, the one who holds all power and authority, addressing us with divine dignity and grandeur. This awareness should fill our hearts with gratitude, humility, and renewed commitment to live by Allah's guidance in every aspect of life. The use of we reminds us that we stand in relationship with the Most High, and the Most Magnificent, despite His infinite greatness, chooses to guide and communicate with His creation out of boundless mercy and love. May Allah increase our understanding of His perfect book and grant us the ability to approach it with the reverence and attention it deserves. May our hearts always remain filled with awe and gratitude for the immense blessing of having access to direct divine guidance. Indeed, through the Quran, Allah has given humanity its greatest gift, and understanding the wisdom behind His choice of words only deepens our appreciation for this incomparable treasure, a guide for this life and the hereafter.